Hello there everyone and welcome to Lydia's Crafty Corner. Today I'll be focusing on some simple graphic backgrounds and I'll also be lining up the new flat and fold alpha die. There is a little trick to this and I will show you how I do it. It's really fun adding this fun sentiment with a graphic background and I love how it turned out. So to start with, I'm going to be using the Simple Shapes XL stamp set. So there's lots of beautiful graphic shapes in here that can be used on their own or to create fun backgrounds that I'm going to be doing. So to start with, I've created a couple of backgrounds. I didn't use them all. I did end up just using the last one. I've added a little bit of a padding behind me. I have a little bit of a stamping mat just to get the pressure really well on these. So you can really play around with these shapes to create really cool backgrounds. You don't have to cover the whole piece if you don't want to. And I do like adding little white bits, or leaving little white bits I should say, on the backgrounds just to add a little bit more interest and, you know, just a little bit more fun to them. So to start with, I use the diamond to create a chevron shape, and you don't have to cover the whole piece. Like I said, you can just use half of the paper as your background, and it creates kind of like an ombre look but with geometric shapes, if that makes sense. So then for this second one, I'm going to be using the hexagon shape. And again, this one really works really well and they fit together like a glove. So this is the background I am going to be using. The ones that I've just done beforehand were just to show you how it's easy just to use one shape and repeat that over and over again to build up a pattern. But you can just use many different shapes like I'm using on this one to create a different kind of pattern and more of an irregular look than just using one of the shapes. So the colours I am using is Mountain Mist, Buttercream, Limestone and also Rose Quartz. And I'm using a few of the different shapes from the stamp set to create my own irregular pattern. As you can see, I have left little bits of white. This is because it's easier to do rather than try and create the whole scene without leaving any whites, but I just think that the white does brighten it a little, and I'm sorry that I keep getting my head in the shot. I am sorry about that. I will try my best to keep it out from now on. So I'm going to be using the flat and fold alpha die once I've finished my background, once I'm happy with the way it looks, and I'm going to be using the H, the L, the E and the O. So some of them are half shapes and some of them are not. So to line this up, I'm going to be using a piece of acetate. This is the same size as my card base, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to add myself a little guideline on this so I can line up the letters easily. I'm using the black marker, artist marker from the artist marker set A, and I'm just going to add a line using a ruler just along a piece so I can easily line up my letters. I'm then going to fold it over, turn it over even, so I'm going to be working on the back so none of that ink that I've just popped down will go anywhere on my card front. I've also got an F because it's the same size as my L and I want to write hello, so I'm just going to use this as a spacer later on. So I've got myself a little bit of grid paper because this really does help when lining these letters up. So I'm making sure that I have an even width either side of the H and the O, so that both sides are going to be equal where they start cutting in, and I'm then going to work out how large that half letter is, and I'm going to leave that exact same down to that line. So that black line is where I'm going up to, so I have 4 little squares on my graph piece of paper, which is how much it cuts. So when I fold that over, it's going to fold over to another 4, so that's how you're going to work out how big the letter's going to be. So I'm just lining the other ones up. The L I don't need to worry about because that is a full letter, and I have added a little bit of the Altenew glue tape behind these letters so they do stick onto my acetate sheet. I'm then just going to add my acetate bit onto my card front. I'm just adding a little bit of washi tape so it doesn't move when I push it through my die cutting machine. So I'm just going to run this through, and then as you can see, it has cut the L out completely, but the other letters, the H, the E and the O, because they're only half a letter, they have only cut half a letter and left a score line, so they're still in place. All I'm going to need to do is fold them over later, but I do want to add in my extra L before I do that. So I'm just going to take the L back off the acetate sheet, guide sheet, and I'm just going to washi tape this bit into place. I don't need to use the guide sheet for this. I'm just going to pop it into place where I think it needs to be, and I'm just going to run this through. Again, a little bit of washi tape does work really well, so your piece isn't going to move around, so it does cut in the exact same place as you want it to cut. So as you can see, my L's are out, but my other letters are. But I wanted to add a little bit of difference to them, so I'm just taking a silver pen and I'm just colouring the bits that have been cut. This is going to give me a really cool effect when I do bend them over, because you're going to be able to see that silver piece, and I think that's better than cutting it out of silver cardstock, because you're not going to waste that whole bit of silver cardstock. You just add in the colour behind the letters that you are going to fold over. So I recommend using a ruler to fold these over, and I'm just going to fold this up against that score line, and that ruler is just helping me get it in the exact same place and giving me something to just butt up against. So the score line is already there, so I'm just laying that over the score line, then pushing it up into place. You're going to want to give these a really good fold down, maybe use a bone folder or something that you have, but I was just using my nail and it works pretty well. So you can leave them like this if you want to, but I'm going to add a little bit of tape. So to do this, I'm just going to fold them back onto themselves onto a piece of paper, so that way when I add the glue, it's not going to go onto my card base, just on behind that letter, half a letter I should say. So as you can see, I'm just adding a tiny bit, folding it back, and then it's going to stay in place really, really well. I have then taken a little bit off the top and bottom of my card base, because card layer, because I wanted to pop this up, and I wanted to just add a little bit of a detail to the top and bottom, and that was all I've done. So I've just popped this on using some foam tape to give me a little bit of dimension, so you can see through those letters, and they do leave a little bit of a shadow behind. So there's the card complete. I really do hope that you like it and that you give this super easy and quick graphic card a go. And if you are interested in any more videos, I have a few listed here. Thank you so much for watching, and if you don't want to miss out on any of these videos, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again really, really soon. Goodbye!